Hello, everybody, and welcome back to some more BTS EU series. We've got Power Rangers versus Prius. That first game was a short one, and Prius have a lot of ground to make up for in this second game. Either way, I'm Llama Down Under. I'm going to be joined by the Wonder Cow. How's it going?
It's going well. I'm happy to be jumping in halfway through this series and caught the end of that last game. It seemed a little one-sided there, but both of these teams tend to have trouble on Radiant, more so even than
Radiant team
an
ban.
average team on this patch. So maybe Prius will be able to pull it back now that they've got that dire advantage.
Yeah,
Dire
we'll see. The
team
laning
ban.
phase really sealed the deal for me. Power Rangers won every single lane, and it's really hard to. There's some lineups that can afford that, right? Where when you group up, you're stronger together than you were apart. But the one that Prius had last game wasn't one.
10
We'll see what they
seconds
can do
remaining.
here. But now Power Rangers have the Enchantress and the Nature's Prophet.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, that's a heavy amount of push, though there is some fair amount of global reinitiation and
Reserve
global
time.
potential coming out of Prius as well with the Ancient Apparition Spirit Breaker. It'd be interesting to see how not necessarily the laning
Dire
phase, but
team pick.
the mid game breaking just out of that laning phase for the 8 to 12 minute mark breaks down.
Yeah, I also worry because it seemed like last game, since Prius did have the rough end of the stick when it came to how their lanes went. When you already are having trouble in lanes, having a Nature's Prophet who can TP in at any time to make things go even
10
worse
seconds remaining.
for you, it's rough,
Yeah.
right?
A good Nature's Prophet is in
5
every
seconds
lane, or you
remaining.
at least have to play as though he is in every lane because he can be there at a moment's notice, and of course, really throw the entire
Radiant
plan that
team
you may
pick.
have into Oblivion. It's different than a Spirit Breaker, where you're likely going to have a slight amount of time before you actually see him come into the lane, maybe 7 to 8 seconds before you realize between when you realize he's gone and when he arrives where he's going. Nature's Prophet, you have much less time, and he also has the Sprout to make sure that he buys that time back once he's there. Invoker going to
10
come out for Prius.
seconds
It's strange
remaining.
to see the Invoker actually get picked up this late in the draft, to be honest.
5 seconds remaining.
Now, yeah, yes and no. It's been a weird day of weird picks.
Dire
I'm
team
also really
pick.
surprised to see the AA come out so early from Prius. They've gotten themselves something good here, obviously, with the Invoker and the AA, also the Spirit Breaker. They've got a lot of magic damage to deal with Enchantress, but of course that does mean they're now lacking in other areas. For example, they haven't shown us what their right click carry is, but regardless of what it is, it needs to be someone who goes fast because we've got a Shadow Shaman. You need to get 2 hits on those wards.
Yeah, Shadow Shaman, once again, a very heavy
10
pusher.
seconds
And the,
remaining.
the Death Prophet's already banned out, so the counter push
Radiant
isn't going to be
team
coming
pick.
from Prius, at least not to that degree. So it looks like Prius are very heavily just investing into the gank potential of their squad. They will need to execute that starting early. The Bat Rider is a
Dire
great
team
tower
ban.
initiator, especially once he gets that Blink Dagger. For these pushes, you basically guarantee a 4-on-5 and deter your opponents from even trying to defend towers. So, once again, for Prius, it's all about the early game. This Earth Spirit needs to get off to a couple of early ganks. The Spirit Breaker needs to make
10
sure his
seconds
rotations are on
remaining.
point. Every lane needs to control their equilibrium to open up the possibility
5
of getting
seconds
ganks,
remaining.
or they could find themselves at significant economic disadvantage
Reserve
very
time.
early in this game.
I mean, they picked the Earth Spirit, and it's meant. The idea behind it is to gank the lanes, keep you in a better spot so the push is delayed. You can get some farm on whoever you pick your carry to be, which I wouldn't be surprised if they just go for something safe like the Juggernaut has a nice way to pair up with the AA. Also, if an Earth Spirit slows, you can get off at least 2 seconds of full Blade Fury. But again, Power Rangers Enchantress is hard to kill. If they lose the Shadow Shaman a few times, maybe Power Rangers isn't too bothered. The Bat Rider has some nice escapes. We'll have to see.
Now, Invoker Earth Spirit is also one of the more played
Radiant
combinations on
team
this
ban.
patch, and they do have a 68% win rate together. So, as you mentioned, the synergy there is quite good if you can manage to get both of them. The issue is you don't normally get both because one is almost always banned out in the first phase, and opponents often will pick
10
the other one if they
seconds
have first
remaining.
pick. So, once again, letting Earth Spirit through this late into the draft is kind of an anomaly.
Dire team
Power
pick.
Rangers really not that concerned about it. I'm not sure if that's because they are confident in their individual play to be able to just outmaneuver Prius, or if they're confident in Prius's inability to execute the strategy.
Yeah, I think Obviously, there's. Oh, okay. I was expecting the Spectre just because they do
Radiant
have a lot of
team
global presence here. It's a hard. It's a hero that needs a lot of farm, but I think has a bit more utility in team fights than the Weaver, at least early on. The Weaver requires a lot of farm as well, although it's much easier to escape than a Spectre.
Yeah, Weaver pushes a bit better than Spectre traditionally, though, like in terms of getting structural damage is better. Just because the Geminate attack gives her more single
10
target
seconds
damage, and
remaining.
she will usually go for a Desolator as well at some stage in the game.
5 seconds
I
remaining.
think Brias do need a bit of push, once again, in terms of structural damage.
Reserve
So the
time.
Weaver kind of makes sense, but as you mentioned, Weaver does sometimes take a little while to get going, and isn't that often put into the farming carry position anymore. Usually, if you do see her, she takes an off lane or maybe a dual off lane position, or you see her in a solo farming carry with roaming supports or off lane supports.
Yeah, it's just a bit of an odd pickup from Prius. They don't have great. I mean, at the very least, the Geminate attack will help them with the wards, but it doesn't feel like they have the best D push so far.
Yeah. But
Obviously,
they're
the Ice Blast is good for that, but it's whether they'll have it up in time because we've seen
right,
this.
and so the Spectre does come out for Power Rangers, and it fits perfectly fine for them because they already have enough structural assault that they don't need it in their carry. Their carry can just be a farmer. It looks like they're going to try to split and rat and basically 4 protect 1 with aggression, what some people call a heads up 4 protect 1 strategy.
Yeah.
That looks like it should work out fairly well against Prius as long as they apply enough pressure to keep this Earth Spirit and Spirit Breaker from rotating on the Spectre early.
It's a really nice game for a Spectre here because I think obviously there's easy ways to rotate in and help the Spectre with the Nature's Prophet always being able to TP, and if the Spectre is having a hard time, it's very easy to. Sorry, the Bat Rider was upside down for me and I was very confused. It's very easy
No.
if the Spectre's having a rough time to push down towers and get her gold that way.
Yeah, especially she doesn't even need to be there for that. So she can simultaneously be farming in a lot of cases, so you're really doubling down your Spectre catch-up. She doesn't knock down waves of creeps that effectively. She doesn't knock down jungle camps for catch-up, but they can crack the piggy banks of their opponent's towers to try and get enough of an advantage that the Spectre can then launch herself back into the lead with hero kills later on.
And with the changes, some of the changes to her, to dispersion and so on, she does feel a little bit more survivable. But also, when you've got to line up with a Nature's Prophet, right? Maybe you use that ult, or you haunt to use that ult, someone gets low. Spectre comes in with Desolate and just rips right on
30
through
seconds
heroes like the AA and the Earth Spirit.
With the dispersion as well, especially with the changes and Spectre's relatively natural high armor, especially considering the build she usually goes, Ancient Apparition doesn't usually contribute that much to her death. She's dodging a lot of the damage during the period of time where she is not regenning, and her natural regen is honestly not that stellar. Her strength gain is only okay, and she doesn't usually get a lot of regen items anyway.
Oh, we're gonna have a charge onto J4. The Sunstrike not gonna hit, but J4 taking a lot of damage from that Chilling Touch. They need one more auto attack, and they're not able to get it. A little bit surprised that they've changed targets, considering, oh, he doesn't have mana for another charge for 10 seconds. Additionally, Enchantress took a lot of damage from Gadrox. Gadrox going back in. Bignum does now skill those healing wisps, so she's gonna be fine up there.
No, she scaled enchant.
Oh, oops. Oh, yes, she
So,
did.
Bye.
Oops.
She would have been fine if she did scale the healing wisp, the nature attendants.
I actually think both Healing Wisp and Untouchable would have saved her, but for
Yeah.
some reason I thought that was the other one.
Did she scale that wall she was being attacked?
Yes.
I
I
can't
thought
help
for
but think that was a misscale.
Yeah, we're gonna see.
Yeah. We'll see if she uses enchanted all at
Illidan
level
takes
1.
a lot of damage here. He's gonna be just fine, but that Orb of Venom doing a lot of work.
Yeah. And already the aggression coming out of Prius showing what this lineup is intended to do. Whether or not they'll be able to keep it up and whether or not they'll be able to make sure that they're not giving out trades at this stage is yet to be seen. But if they continue to execute with this kind of level of aggression and they don't fall victim to the Nature's Prophet rotations, they honestly should be pretty well off moving into the mid game.
Yeah, they're definitely applying the gas early, and I really like seeing it. Last game, it just felt like they got dominated in lanes, and so having a much better hope here is pretty dang awesome.
Yeah. And once again, both of these teams do much better on Radiant than Dire, right? So
On Dire than Radiant, you mean?
Or exactly, yeah. Sorry, I parapraxied my words there.
No.
On Dire than Radiant.
Oh,
Up
Gadrox
top.
going in again. That Geminate attack plus the Chilling Touch brings Cheshire Cat already down to 2/3 of his life. He's at half. He can't trade here with Zenigata. So, a little bit surprised he tries to. Cheshire Cat does always have the TP away, but now in comes Gadrox again, and yeah, Cheshire Cat just gonna TP out.
Barely making it out even
Oh,
with
he
that.
gets the kill.
He doesn't make it out with that.
No, he
Oh,
does.
yes, he does.
That
He
was
got the
Ancient
kill.
Apparition went down instead, so he does end up getting out, but AA overextending, going down, so PR able to fight back a little bit.
I actually didn't see that treant floating around there. That was a sneaky little kill.
It's the set that looks relatively normal. Oh no, and Pone taking a lot of damage here. The net is on cooldown, but the Hadoken creep doing so much.
Yeah, the Satyr Tormentor, as you mentioned in previous path.
It's so
casts,
strong.
Yeah, the Shockwave is the range is huge now too, so you don't really have to worry about getting in range with it. You have essentially an infinite number of casts. You will run out of time with him before you run out of mana in a lot of cases. And just his ability to give survivability to a lane with the Unholy Aura alongside all of that makes him really valuable for lane ganks.
Yeah,
Like, look at that range.
We rarely
was-
get to talk about the Unholy Aura, but I agree with you. I think that's a huge factor in early engagements. It's 6 extra health regen, I think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more than a ring of health, right? And often you might rush your ring of health because it gives you that massive burst of lane survivability. And Enchantress can just walk in and provide that by herself. She doesn't even necessarily need to be there if a lane is in trouble.
Now, we haven't had an opportunity to talk too much about this mid lane. It does look pretty dang even. Invoker's up a CS, a lot of denies, though, on the Batrider. Batrider mid, not something we see every day.
Down bottom, there should be a charge out coming.
Okay, he's not quite able. He's not going to use it. And in the mid, the aggression is stopped as well by the Batrider.
That was a strange charge. He was the good coordination coming from the Earth Spirit made it so that he could afford to charge the Spectre instead of actually charging out. But even so, you normally see them grab somebody from the other side of the map just to be sure that they're not going to get stunned out or anything like that.
Now, Zenigata, he's actually doing really well on levels, all things considered. As is the Weaver, so Cheshire Cat gonna chase Gadrox a little bit. Gadrox has a bottle, so AA is
boy.
trying to save the regen rune for him. Oh gosh, is he gonna be able to get it? No, he goes for the attack. AA ends up taking the regen rune. Gadrox does have another Sakuchi, but AA is burning away from this, and Gadrox maybe not wanting to be right there. There is a charge coming in onto the Batrider. They're also gonna have a roll in if they so choose. It's really hard to hit this angle. Zara going to end up dodging the roll completely, but not that Sunstrike. Cold Snap and the last auto attacks from Gadrox, bringing him down.
I mean, that's obviously a great trade for Pries. They gave up a support for an off lane and for the Batrider. That, yeah, take that every single day of the week.
Yeah, and it's really, I mean, it's a very different game than last. I was not sure what to expect coming into this one because the first game was such a stomp, but Pries managing to bring it back some.
Pries should be winning right now, though, just because their draft is stronger in lane. The Weaver
Well,
can
you
apply
say that. There's going to be a charge. Actually bashes him out of the Sunstrike, but I think they have the auto attack damage to bring down the Batrider.
Yeah, the Invoker is generally a fairly high damage output hero, although he does need rotations in order to really utilize that for hero kills. The Earth Spirit is great in the laning phase. The Spirit Breaker, great in the laning phase. The Weaver is given a massive damage output boost by the Chilling Touch alongside, as you had mentioned earlier, the Geminate attack. So really all of their lanes are designed to be strong at this stage, and they might have trouble as that push starts to come out of PR. So right now the Spectre can't really contribute very much, doesn't even have the ultimate yet. She can't catch anybody or really provide anything to try to make ganks happen. The Enchantress is fairly strong at this stage, but she's been having trouble finding the rotations. And
Speaking of rotations up top, we do have a charge. Gadrox is healed up mostly. There's going to be the Chilling Touch. Goodness, just one more auto attack, and Pone gets the bash as well. Great Prejudice, and now they're going to kill off all the creeps.
one survives to tell the tale with 5 health.
Radiant's top
Yeah,
tower
this is
under
still for
attack.
Pries. obviously this is great. They do have a stronger laning phase, but being able to execute it like this is a different story. And they've managed to make sure that they are not only applying pressure onto the farming carry, but really onto everybody. Down bottom,
Yeah.
it should be a roll away.
No, not able to get it off before all of the damage comes out, and now Godrox has to be careful here. There isn't mana for another shackle, so I eat my words. Oh, he bobs his wand and he's under a sentry. The charge will help him out. Godrox needs to just walk away, doesn't turn around for the last auto attack. Illidan might be able to snag up 2 kill involvements here. Pone trying to run away, but the Desolate may just end up killing him. It does. And now Godrox going to use that Sakuchi, but no, he's still under the sentry, so Nature's Prophet gets the kill. Earth Spirit is back in this fight. He has respawned, but whether he can fight against Illidan with that Desolate, sorry, it was Dispersion earlier, was helping out. Yeah, it's gonna be a nice set of gold. Almost 400 going Illidan's way.
Where is it? I don't see the sentry. It must be a very sneaky sentry.
Oh, you're right. This was a Dio sentry. Maybe they...
Yeah.
No. They had to have had something, because they caught him in the...
Dire's middle tower
So
is
if
under
you
attack.
shackle at the same time as the
Yeah.
Shikuchi, shackle provides vision of invisibility.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. We're gonna see Illidan take a Sunstrike, but Pony doesn't get the bash, and now with the sticky
Dire's
napalm, he
middle
has
tower
to turn
is under
around.
attack.
Yeah, the bottom lane there giving quite a bit the way of Power Rangers, even though the death toll does go up for both sides. Remember, Power Rangers are trying to scale in toward the mid game, and the Spectre does manage to make it away.
Yeah, she's not top of the net worth chart because of that engagement, and that's really fantastic. You're always hoping to keep the Spectre down if you're facing it, and she's got her own up, so well on the way to that, you know, I build whatever I want, I'm a Spectre.
Right. And she also does have the haunt up, so if she wants to engage in any fight from this point forward, she can. And she's going to just teleport bottom by herself.
Yeah, she doesn't have to be too... Well, I actually think now
Well,
she might be in a bit of trouble. There's potential
yeah.
for a roll and a charge, but R&M taking a lot of damage from the tower, and Illidan just poking away at them. I think Prius worried about further TPs coming out there.
Yeah, or maybe there's an Enchantress in the
Radiant's
jungle, and we
top
actually
tower is
see
under
this.
attack.
They're going to wait for the AA ult to come in, and
Yeah,
now they're
turns,
going to go.
turns out that was their cue. There's also going to be a Sunstrike, and they get the quick kill on Illidan. Really well played there.
Yeah, that was a strange engagement to choose by the
Dire's
Spectre.
middle
I
tower
get
is
that she
under
wanted to
attack.
go into the lane and farm, but without any support into that pure aggression of the Earth Spirit and the Spirit Breaker, there's just not a lot you can do if they decide to move on you. They've got to silence. Oh, geez, they're going to move on Big Noom as well.
Big Num is a much harder kill, though. Oh, the Sunstrike way off the mark, and Mass TP's coming in. I think they need to get on out, even
There we
having
go.
used the Ebola. Pone gonna fall, Spectre haunting in, getting involved in 2 kills. The A blast comes out, it will hit Big Num. She shatters, and Godrox looking like he's gonna be able to scuttle away on this Weaver, but not the fight Prius were hoping for.
Yeah, once again, Power Rangers starting to get into the
Oh.
stage of the game where they can apply some pressure up
Radiant's
top.
middle tower
Yep, the
Oh.
Dagon comes out from Cheshire Cat, and there is no
Radiant
escape for that
structures are
AA.
fortified.
That's a worrisful sign for Prius because they do have several heroes that are vulnerable to burst damage, right? The Ancient Apparition is notoriously vulnerable
Dire's
to burst
top
damage.
tower is
Earth
under
Spirit
attack.
also has a fairly low health pool, and Weaver, if he does not have time lapse up, can also fall extremely quickly to something like a Nature's Wrath Dagon.
It's actually a fantastic pickup, right, by PR. It's not something we see as often these days on the Nature's Prophet. More common is the Aghanim Scepter build, but it's going to work out really well here, but they get a quick kill using that Ice Blast and the Weaver. They're still having a lot of trouble with Spectre. Since she wasn't hit by Ice Blast, I'm not sure Godrox can do more than just be a pain. But Godrox getting more farm is always exactly what you want out of your Weaver. Big Gnome coming in with the impetus. There's going to be another slow for Pone,
Dire's top
but
tower
Big Gnome
is
doesn't
under
want to
attack.
dive. Oh, but there's a Dagon Cheshire Cat, and now the Sunstrike, it's not going to be enough damage, but the Sakuchi is.
That is not a very good trade in that particular case. It was a high risk, medium reward play, right? But giving the Weaver a little bit more, he's already on top of the net worth at this point. And
Yeah.
this is a hero that you want to have to take a while to get online, especially if your counter is going to be the Spectre, right? Or if your equivalent is the Spectre, who does take a while to get online.
This game is pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie, after last game, solo casting a Stomp is pretty much the worst thing in the world, folks. It's very difficult, and there's just not much to talk about because it's so one-sided, but this one, much better, much more exciting. We got Daggons flying around. I hope he doesn't upgrade it. It's very diminishing returns, but
Radiant's bottom tower
I
is
am
under
expecting Nature's Prophet to continue trying to TP around and get these pickoffs.
He has to. If you go for that build, you really just have to try and be as involved in kills as you can. Otherwise, you, in essence, wasted that money, right?
Batrider's going in for the Blink. Mastermind backing very far up. They are all smoked. The Ice Blast gonna hit on just one. Pwn actually has to be careful because there is the lasso coming out on him. There's the ult from the Spectre as well. And there is no backup for this Space Cow. At the same time, they're taking a lot of damage in the back lines.
Dire's middle tower is under
That
attack.
nature's wrath is very strong in these early levels. The glyph is down. Invoker does get the deny. Can they find anyone? The ult is dropped by J4. There is a sentry this time nearby, so Gadrox has to be a little careful. But the roll on in, the dust is out. R&M gonna fall to this impetus and the Dagon, but Gadrox gets the Nature's Prophet. Can he find anything more? Oh no. If he Sakuchis, okay. He does not choose to Sakuchi that way. And all in all, a 2-for-1 but a tower deny.
Yes, but the tower is gone, and map control starting to go the way of PR. That's what they want, even more than the gold. The gold is really nice, but they need to start taking control of this map.
Zara is going to avoid one bash, but gets hit by another, and Invoker getting that with the autos. I believe the Sunstrike was off the mark, so he's starting to pick back up after a rough start.
Yeah, and once again, for Pries, they need to make sure that they continue to apply pressure, but they need to do it successfully. They don't have a very good way to knock down towers right now. They just have to kind of chip away at it. Weaver is going to go for a Lincoln's build, which I think is a very good call this game. There are a lot of single target abilities, especially for the Batrider's lasso. He doesn't actually have a way to pop the Lincolns right now on his own, so he can't individually pick at the Weaver.
Oh, the global comes out again. This is actually a really nice set. They get the pick on to the Nature's Prophet. J4's trying to get the kill on R&M. There are the body blocks coming out, but J4 suddenly realizing he's surrounded. Lasso's going to be popped on Zenigata most likely. There we go. J4 is ice-feeded up, but it doesn't matter. And now they do get the Ebola off, but it's not maybe on the target they want. Gadrox is here at the ready, but Pwn has to be very careful. Gadrox very low, dusted up. The ult comes out, the Nether Strike, but it doesn't matter because Big Num's walking away. They do get the better trade.
Yes, pretty squarely. They started the fight, they ended the fight. There was a little in the middle that was uneven, but they ended in a pretty decent position, especially since the Spectre is just hanging out mid farming.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very even game all of a sudden, which I agree with you. That's a bit in favor of PLs because they have the Spectre, yeah. But that's why we keep being like, oh, what? Just because if the Spectre isn't involved in the kills, it's good. But then as well, it's always great that PR can find anything here. Like Gadrox is getting a lot of farm, and we'll be able to get a damage item next.
And he's going to be able to chip these towers much more successfully than the Spectre will, just in general over time. So you do have to be a bit worried about that Weaver getting out of control faster, and you also have to be worried about your ability to actually gank him, because once again, if Shadow Shaman is around, they have a really good series of mechanisms to both hold him still and lift Lincolns, but without that, they don't really have a good way to apply damage to him in general.
Yeah, they're also out of dust for right now. Enchantress has been buying those, Shadow Shaman has been buying those, but for right now, clear out, and Big Num gonna be seen. Nether Strike Abe, well, she's dead. Although Illidan coming, okay, he does not have a way to stop that, and Pwn should be able to walk away.
So half his health taken in 2 hits there.
Yeah,
That is a max desolate build.
Yeah, it's very nice. Pwn gonna get piggied up. Now in comes the Haunt. They're all wards down here. The Ebola out. Pwn still taking a lot of damage, but does manage to get out. They're looking for more. What is going on? Illidan and Zara both deep behind the tower. Zara, of course, has a blink, but it's been disabled by the auto attacks from Gadrox. He's still going after the Batrider. R&M is going to fall to this Spectre, though. Cheshire Cat coming in, still has the Dagon at the ready, I think. Zara going to fall maybe to the Geminate attack. Needs to be able to get these off. Ice Blast helping out. Cheshire Cat finally gets a kill there. Illidan pretty low, though. Has to be careful. Cheshire Cat just going for the TP. Gadrox doesn't know that he's here. And yeah, he's just going to cut his way free. He also has 12 1 charges, so he's a very hard kill. And Gadrox with only... That was weird. That seemed like a very short Sakuchi. Gadrox just not able to follow.
Yeah, I think during that fight, we really saw the benefit of the Spectre into the Ancient Apparition with this 10 natural armor hanging out. Even taking tier 2 tower hits under the AA's influence, it really didn't make that big of a difference because the natural regen that the Spectre has is a very small part of her overall survivability.
Yeah, it's not.
Just cat.
Okay, yeah, he's going ham for it, but it's just going to be a Sunstrike. I don't think they had the damage with the AA Blast ending up being off the mark.
Yes.
We're still
They're not
pretty
chasing
dang
back,
even.
though, maybe. They popped the Firefly for this.
Yeah,
He's got flying vision.
He does,
Okay.
but he doesn't go for it. Even though it's daytime flying vision, I think both teams, when we look at their vision, they don't have a good idea where everyone is. This ward was showing no one, so you're like, crap, are they all right behind Pone?
Yeah, they seem to be looking at a tower, though. There is still the threat of Blink and Flaming Lasso on this tower, which makes defending it really difficult with anything less than a group of 4. And they do only have 3 heroes up here. A's ultimate is about to land. It will miss.
Yeah, it's hard to land that one without somebody else setting it up, and of course you want to be further away so that you can land a big one. You can see that, oh, they're returning the kill. There's gonna be a smoke blown. They're getting the lasso out onto one, but the Sunstrike, he bashes him into it, so Zara immediately very low, but already R&M dead from the Dagon, and now Mastermind taking huge amounts of Desolate damage, dies on the top of that team fight. Pone in a lot of trouble as well, and the only one really who's gonna end up, oh, they actually get 2 very close TPs out. Weaver is still playing over on the left. Zenigata very low here. He has an Ice Blast up in 2, although if he's anywhere near them when it pops out, he may... Oh no, the dagger blind gun! Oh, he just dodges it.
That was close. He still has to worry about the Nature's Prophet coming in, though. He's got Dagon up. He's got full health, and he might think about diving this.
I don't actually
We've
know
seen him
if
do it
that was...
before.
Okay, we're gonna have an Ice Blast. It should hit on Illidan. Not sure it's enough damage, though. Gadrox will chase this. They do have a sentry in a good spot, so he knows that he's seen. He needs some auto attacks. He's not gonna shatter yet. Oh, he's so low. The next auto attack, he just needs to Sakuchi him. R&M trying to come in as well, and the Geminate attack works. Now Big Mom, they have to work through this untouchable, but she goes down. They get it with a Sakuchi.
Yeah, Shikuchi, a great skill, just in general, against the Enchantress, as is Geminate attack. Untouchable doesn't slow the second attack, so if you happen to have a Geminate attack prop, then you get 2 attacks for the price of 1. It essentially halves the efficacy of her Untouchable.
I also think the Spectral Dagger up there, I don't think it was to kill anyone. I think Spectre was trying to get a last hit or something. So then that it lit up the
close
AA.
to being a happy surprise.
Yeah, from the looks of things, because obviously if she'd seen Zenigata, seen the AA, you just click it on the AA and it hits for sure, no matter how much distance. So
She definitely didn't see him there, but she might have seen him tuck into there and then trying to scout it just to make sure that he didn't TP.
Either way, a nice attempt.
Yeah, either way, it came very, very close, and we are still doing a fairly decent job of maintaining some control of this game. They now have 2 towers down, so they're even on towers, ideally, or excuse me, 3 towers down, so they are up 1 tower. Ideally, they're going to be able to apply pressure onto those tier 2s within the next 4 or 5 minutes, but until they get this Weaver, probably Desolator, their ability to comfortably take full team fights is going to be minimized.
Yeah, that being said, Gadrox is huge on this Weaver. It's been a long time since I've seen a 1-position Weaver actually have a good time. It's just a hero that, you know, it's hard to itemize. The Lincolns ends up working out really well here, but we've also seen the Deso or sometimes the straight BKB, depending on how the game goes. But it's really nice here for Gadrox because, as we talked about, so many things that the Lincolns block. The Lincoln blocks. Ugh.
This is now a Dagon level 4 build on the Nature's Prophet, who is still sitting on only 921 base health. Normally, when you see the Dagon, you don't necessarily see it max before any other items. That's greedy-ish. Now, granted, we've already mentioned the massive number of targets for burst damage here. It's 3 pretty good targets for burst damage. That said, the Nature's Prophet has been having trouble staying in these fights. He's died 5 times.
We have a charge coming out on top. They're actually going in for the Spectre. Everybody's going to see this. Godrox is going to find the rest of the team. They actually do get the stun up. Oh, and the ward trap onto Pone. He has the Nether Strike to get out of it, but he's shackled in there, unable to do anything. Instead, Godrox just pounding away at them. They will lose that Space Cal, but now Big Num on the back lines of the fight also taking a lot of damage, albeit this fight a complete mess. They've taken out the Invoker as well, so Spectre getting herself some nice farm there. And it looks like they're also losing the Earth Spirit. No, he gets the TP out. Now Weaver attempting to chase Zenigata very low here. Godrox can see Illidan there. Oh, and now can completely see Illidan there, so he's going to take a lot of damage. The Ice Blast going to be what gets the kill. And the Bat Rider unable to kill off A with the Flame Break. Oh, I spoke too soon. The dot damage.
And Cheshire Cat up here.
Yeah, just in case, I think
Dire's middle tower
hoping to
is
get
under
something
attack.
done.
He's maybe trying to just apply a bit more pressure up here. I think he started that TP with the intention of killing the AA, but AA died anyway, so he figured, nah, I'll just come up and get some treants and do what I can.
Yeah, it's really
a lot
funny.
of good they do. But the Desolator now up on the Weaver. This is troublesome for PR. They really do need to find themselves a favorable fight and take a tower, or they are gonna have a lot of difficulty taking this until the Spectre is just a monster, which is a long way off.
Also, it was another fight where the Weaver survived and the Spectre did not. So a nice trade there for Pries. Even though they lost equal numbers of heroes, killing off that Spectre always the aim in the game.
Yeah. And Spectre is going for a Manta build. She does not go into any Radiance or any sort of AoE. She does have drums. Didn't go for the Aquila, so her build is not necessarily a typical build. It is a very combat-oriented build,
Radiant structures
and the
are
drums
fortified.
should ostensibly help with pushing, but they just haven't quite gotten there.
Radiant's
I think
middle
she's
tower
very
is
worried
under
about not getting the haunt off if she wants to be able to escape because of the Earth Spirit being able to silence for quite a while. But either way, they get the tier 1, so Prius making themselves pretty even in this, and as you talked about, that Weaver melts towers.
Yeah, the charge is going to be canceled, but with the Desolator, Prius are feeling pretty bold. They should be able to move into the Roche pit here. I suspect that's what they're going to be doing, and that is exactly what they're doing.
And this is much.
Yeah, they have control.
Yeah, it's a nice play here. They'll get themselves some more of an advantage. We are still just one team fight away. You know, it's very even. One team fight can swing the balance, but Prius Weaver is an excellent person to have the Aegis on.
Sean has
So
fallen
they're
to
gonna have a good time for the next 5 or so minutes.
I'm honestly a little surprised they put it on the Weaver. Really, it seems to be to protect the kill streak gold more than anything, because the Weaver's only died the one time and has not been put under any significant threat for 5 or 10 minutes at this point. There just doesn't seem to be the damage and the disable there to hold the Weaver still. And if you do end up throwing down a Weaver, like if the Weaver loses the Aegis, she can't immediately use time-lapse in any effective way anyway after that. So often you do see Weavers get disabled immediately after respawning from the Aegis and just wasting it.
I
I'm
think
kind of surprised.
it might just be that they don't know. The Weaver's doing the most of their damage output right now. Level 18, 24 minutes in. This is even... You know, the Invoker has a Midas and is level 14. The Spectre's doing pretty dang well and is only level 15. I think it's just, as you said, partly to protect the kill spree, but Godrox by far is doing the most damage on their team.
Oh, for sure. No doubt at all. And it will allow them to be very bold into these towers. Towers tend to be kind of a dangerous location for the Weaver for obvious reasons. She likes to hang around the periphery of a fight and pick away at opponents rather than within vision. But with the Lincolns and with the lack of individual heroes that have response to that Lincolns, there just doesn't seem to be that much of a threat. And we can actually see Godrox solo pushing down here in the mid. Just ripping through this tower, too.
Yeah. Weaver is going to be poking away at this tower.
And
having a blast.
there's
Yeah,
no
the-
response.
They can't. There's no good defense. They're going to try for the charge. They won't quite catch Illidan here with the Ice Blast, but they've easily gotten a tier 2. And now, going to be working on that tier 3 as well.
Earth Spirit does, by the way, have the Ether Lens, as we just saw that huge push come out, and the Casual Cloak to go alongside it to make up for the lack of the cloak in the recipe now.
Dire's
You better
bottom
TP
tower is
faster,
under
friend.
attack.
Yeah, it's not going to
Before.
work out Sunstrike, and just the auto attack, Spirit Breaker gets it. And also they get the kill on the Bat Rider back here. So a nice play. The Haunt comes out. A little bit surprised by this one. It looks like they are going to pick off the Ancient Apparition, but this should still enable the push on top.
That push was going to come either way. I don't think the
Dire's
Haunt is a
bottom
deterrent to
tower
the
is under
Weaver,
attack.
and anybody near the Weaver also feels relatively emboldened by
Radiant's
his
top tower
presence.
is under
So,
attack.
grabbing a kill with the Haunt, better than getting nothing and losing the tower.
Radiant
In
structures
this
are
particular case,
fortified.
the Nature's Prophet is ratting fairly successfully here. Will grab this tower in the bottom lane.
Radiant's
That
top tower
helps,
has
but it's
fallen.
not enough. They're supposed to be winning on towers with their draft. They're not supposed to be trying to keep up.
Yeah, Pries all starting to get the lead that they need in this one. There's still a Spectre on the other team, so you always have to be really careful. But they're doing a good job here of keeping ahead. Invoker's now got his Ags up. Spirit Breaker's got a Shadow Blade, so these initiations won't be so easy for their opponents to dodge. So
Yeah, the high ground defense from PR is relatively decent. They will protect the Enchantress. Hedrox. That Tar actually really messing with him.
yeah, Gidrock's gonna be forced to back out a little bit, but he ends up going back in. A really nice play there. He's gonna kill off J4. Can he find more? RNM is pretty close. Gidrock's here just trying to burn that Aegis, getting full stuffed all around, and now a big deafening blast into a meatball. Illidan in a lot of trouble when he goes down. Gidrox is still not dead. They're gonna go immediately for the charge, trying to stop Nature's Prophet from any push, but Cheshire Cat should be TPing away here. Oh no, the cold snap stops it. So he still does have that teleport coming out. Cheshire Cat's trying to get it off, but he's being completely illuminated. Unable to get the auto attacks. And no Sunstrike for the Fountain.
And the A will also use top, not send at the fountain just in case, so that will be a pretty clean escape. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for the rest of his team.
Yeah. Another big win for Pries, pulling them further and further ahead. We're going to be seeing another catch out here. Nature's Prophet trying to come in. Big Num taking a lot of damage there, but has the untouchable. These supports maybe have overextended. Gidrox is there, though, coming in. Still has that Aegis pounding away at people. They're going to get him. They're burning that Aegis down. You talked about it. A time-lapse here, maybe not in the best of places. He's going to try for the Sakuchi away. Oh, no, though. He does time-lapse back to being no health, and he's going down. Weaver suddenly dead. Pone coming in, but he needs to get on out. Oh, but they've caught him, and he is visible completely, and he's going to go down as well. A big series of gold going in, and now they're still looking for more. Illidan unable to find it.
Woo! 3,500 gold going the way of PR. Really? That is exactly the problem with putting the Aegis on the Weaver. You cannot time-lapse immediately after it, or you will just die again. You will time-lapse back to nothing. And that was just an absolutely magnificent play from J4. Dropping the Serpent Wards around the Weaver, trapping him there, then forcing him to respawn inside, making him panic. Instead of knocking down one of the wards and running out, he used the time-lapse, and it was a fairly easy kill because of J4's just tremendous play.
Yeah, it's going to be maybe another kill coming up here onto Arn. Cheshire Cat, with an interesting sprout. Oh, they're going in further. The lasso onto Zenigata. Mastermind does end up throwing up a nice tornado. Another good meatball. That's a gem on the deck. They can't catch it, though. There are too many heroes here. And now Illidan taking a lot of damage. The roll on in. The magnetize. No, it doesn't manage to hit. They're going to see Illidan go down, though, it looks like. And still, Big Num trying to fight here. Illidan falls. They get a kick on through. That's a gem exchange. Big Num is in the thick of it. RNM most likely. No, he's juking around the trees. He's still juking, and he stays alive. Well, Big Num goes down. Really nice play there from RNM.
Yeah, that last fight maybe invigorated Power Rangers a bit too much. That was a really risky initiation from the Bat Riders, especially having already picked up a gem. And they were sieging the tower relatively effectively. They could have chipped away at that. Their boldness does not pay off in that particular case. Power Rangers, I think, feel like they're not as far behind maybe as they really are because they're only 7 kills down. But they are
Radiant's
still
top tower
over
is under
7,500 gold in deficit.
Yeah, and this could be a tier 3. There is a buyback on the Spectre, but with no Haunt up, although it's coming up in 1 second. I don't think you use it here for 16 seconds, and the same for Pries. I'm not sure that they'll extend further. Maybe poke at the ranged Rex? No, they're going for it with
They can knock
Alacrity.
it down with the Deso.
Yeah,
And Alacrity, yeah, no, this is... this is an
middle
afterthought
barracks
of
has
Arax
fallen.
with this Weaver. Weaver, like I said, just tremendous structural damage in combination with the Geminid attack and the negative armor. the amount of vision that the swarm gives you, you're really in a great position on this hero almost all the time to chip away and erase structures with relative ease.
I was really surprised they went for, oh, now Bat Rider's being caught out. They also see Illidan on the sidelines and magnetized up there, taking a Sakuchi. The Bat Rider goes down on the sidelines, but Illidan's going to be the next kill, and that's it. That's the GG call.
Yeah. They already lost high ground. That's the one thing that they couldn't afford to do. The Spectre does not clear waves very effectively, so once you lose supers and you're already sitting relatively far behind, it becomes an untenable defense. And since they're already up one game in the series, they can afford to let one slide.
Yeah, so the next game will be the decider. We get to go to a game 3. A little unexpected after that first game, but as you said, maybe it just comes down to who has Dire. Either way, folks, there'll be a short wait as we all get into that next lobby. I'm Llama Down Under. I've been joined by the Wonder Cow. You can find us both by those names on Twitter. Would love any and all feedback on how to make the casting better for you, and we'll see you next time. Peace out, guys. Or in the next game, I mean. We'll see you shortly.